So now we're going into the exciting part where we have to create, the heat maps. And before we do that, I just also wanted to emphasize that when the coordinates have been created, for instance, if you go to the coordinates that were generated by the shape2 DTA file command, you can also verify which map, which coordinates or which polygon this also belongs, because here we have to make sure that we're matching like with like. The good thing is that the shapefiles that we've downloaded so far, they have categorized the polygons in alphabetical order. So what this means is it will be easier for one to generate an ID, but in some cases you may end up having coordinates that do not match the data. So the only way that you do, you select for instance data all the way to the first ID, and then put those in an Excel template like a coordinates file. And then normally what happens is you can go back to QGIS, and if it's in an Excel file, you just go to a layer, add layer, and that add layer you can add delimited text layer, and then just go to where you saved that file. In this case, I was saving every data in that coordinates file, and then once that is done, it brings all the data, and then you just add. Then all you have to do is once you add it, it will indicate which particular polygon that set of coordinates also apply to, right? So now that we know that the data itself is arranged in an alphabetical order when we downloaded the polygon, then the only thing that we can do is just to change the ID, variable. So first drop ID, because we know that this ID is not arranged in alphabetical order. You recall that at first we're using a different shapefile, but now we need to make sure that this is also arranged in an alphabetical order, and also create an ID based on that requirement. So once we drop ID, we just need to sort district, right? And then that should also make sure that we're sorting. Then just generate another ID variable, which is just equal to the number n, and then we can just label that ID. Okay. Then that also gives us solace that at least now we have variables and of interest, and label var ID, okay, and then we can see our data. We see that now things have been arranged in alphabetical order by district, and then we can also just ensure that we reorder our data. Let's just reorder ID. Okay. Then with that, at least we know that we have our ID there, and also our data is also arranged in alphabetical order. That's what we need, because otherwise, if the IDs are different in the coordinates as well as in your shapefile, then you have misrepresentation of data, and we don't want to do that. Okay. So next, then we can create our heat maps. The first heat map that we're going to create, it's called poverty, headcount, and income inequality. We're going to generate a map on poverty, headcount by district, and then also the income inequality by district. But also just take note that there are these two commands, SP map and then the shape2 DTA. If you don't have the command, usually what happens is you have to ensure that that command is installed. So in this case, I'm just asking Stata to install it. What we use is ssc install, and then if it's already installed, Stata will also inform me that that Stata command is already installed. So you can do the same with shep2 DTFI. But the other important thing that you also need to note is that you can also, again, SPMap, you can check the contents of a new command. So this is just visualization of spatial data, and then it also has the requirements in terms of how you also plot that, use that command in addition to the options that are there, right? So you have for instance the base map options, right? And then you do have the format options, right? So here F color, this is also what we're using, fill color of base map polygons, that's what we want to do, and then outline color of base map polygons as well, that's what we also want to do. So when in the graph that we're going to plot, if we just go to the command, you see that one of the things that we are asking Stata is that plot the poverty head count based on those coordinates, and then use the ID that we have just created, and then the F color of the map should be for each polygon should be a heat map, and this one is ranges from the highest being the red, showing that it's for high values, and a lesser color for lower values. And then black, we just want to make sure that we can also see the polygons, the demarcations of the polygons, and we're using the black color. And then the title will be the poverty head count. And then we want to make sure that the legend, the size in that map should be medium. You can change from small, medium to large, depending on the contents of your legends, so that they don't overshadow the map as well. So just make sure that you put a size that also ensures that the map is not also shaded. Then of course, as we've been doing in the other graphs, we're going to name this because we want to combine two maps into one. And then the next one, it will follow the same process that using the same coordinates, map these income inequalities on that particular map, and then name it as a Gini coefficient. We're going to name this figure 46, and as usual, save the graph so that maybe we can also use it if you want in another report. So let's see what happens. Yeah, and as you can see, it now generates the maps. That's the island, and this is the data for the northern region, the central region, as well as the southern region. And what is also important is to make sure that as you generate this data, for instance, if you look at the data that we entered, you should also ensure that if you compare the data in your what you have, so for instance Chitipa, it's 44.5, Karongo is 30.3, so you expect the heat map of this one to be lesser than that, see? So you could see that the color changes, so you know that exactly that indeed we have data that is indeed in line with what we need, and then you know that the rest also it's also will also follow. Also in a particular, you could see that here it's indicating that most of the central region districts have got or register high poverty, and then also you could see from the central region where you have Kasungu, which is high. We have 46 here. Also 46 is being rated as low, so you could see that we have these districts also being shown with the red color. And then also looking at the other districts, for example, there's Nchisi, Chinji is red, Nedza is red, Ncheo is red. All right, so the likes of Nchisi, this is also high. You could also see that this data is also conforming to what we want. So as you can see that indeed this is how you need to interpret the data. Then once this is done, then you can easily start interpreting and then also reporting the right statistics based on the map. So what this is telling us is that central region is pretty much there's high poverty, then followed by some of the districts in the southern region, and then the northern region is also reporting data that there's less poverty than the rest. But in terms of inequality, you see that the trend changes. Of course, the south has more inequality, much as the central has high poverty, but inequality is less. And then the lakeshore areas also have high inequality, and then also we have the north also having issues to deal with high income inequality, right? So that's how your legend appears, and then this is how the graph appears. Once that is done, then what now remains for us is to compile the report, and then we're going to just save the data in our Word document, and this also means that you can save the data and then save the report in the open Word document. Next, we're going to go through section 2.2.